overall impression of the first week of spring ball?
Loved our attitude, effort, approach. Obviously, to the extent that we need to, the execution of the installs and everything that's a little new, we've got a long way to go. But we're not going to add anything new today. So hopefully we'll see kind of how they retain, from a week off, from the first 3 practices to today. So thought that the return meeting last night was as good as I've seen. Typically you worry about people being tardy or flat tire or whatever, and we had 0 of that. Everybody was back on time, early. Team meeting today was really, really good. Had a great day of recruiting. It's been a good day, so hopefully practice will finish off the day really well.
Coach, can you talk a little bit about how you spent the week with the players on spring break, and did you get any reports? Were there any players that stayed in town to work and try to get ahead of the game in terms of installs and learning the new system?
Well, I let the entire staff off for spring break. I mean, we haven't had typically the normal year, you would hope the dead period of February gives us a breather, but we went straight from recruiting to installing and learning each other in February, so we had no time. So the staff, some are still trying to get their families here, I think, and so I can't really answer. I do know some stayed in town because I talked to several, but Dom, I'm sure Dom's not going anywhere. He never goes anywhere. He just, I'm sure he had hours that it was open if some wanted to do that, but I don't have enough knowledge of that to speak on it. So I think everybody kind of needed a break, and including myself. And
you got a good chance to recharge from a tough recruiting period.
Did. Jill and I, we were in town the first part of the week, which truthfully, my favorite vacation, when I have one, would be to get up, come to the office, go play golf, come back to the office, sleep in my own bed. That's honestly kind of like my wife makes fun of me all the time, but that's really kind of like my favorite vacation. I'm not a big travel person or anything, but we did at the end of the week travel to Florida and got to see Coach Malzahn and Christy, who are dear friends of ours, and playing a little golf tournament that was a big golf tournament actually. But so we had a combination of things, but I definitely enjoyed my week.
Tom. Far right. I'm sorry, Coach. Far right. Tom.
Just wondering what your thoughts are on the proposed NCAA rule changes with the clock, especially not stopping after first downs.
I honestly don't know. We have such a great product. When I'm sitting in those meetings and I don't have much of a voice, I just said, our game is in our last meeting I was in, that our game is, I think, as exciting as any sport that is out there, and I just hate to see us tinker with too many rules. I'm being told that that's going to eliminate 6 to 8 plays a game, possibly. So it shouldn't affect it terribly. I've always been the one that says, the people that we should, in my opinion, that we should be truly trying to protect in the length of games is the people that are in Jordan-Hare Stadium. I mean, the people sitting on their couches and then choose to do that, great, I'm glad they're tuning in, we need that. But the ones that they can get up and go get a beverage and another piece of sausage and cheese plate in their kitchen and come back during the commercial, and we're all sitting in there waiting for the. So I've never understood why we just don't try to on the front end, maybe adopt what every other sport is doing now, and that's pitcher in pitcher, and let's just keep playing. And I don't know, the NFL model is, I think 2 of the timeouts in a quarter are pitcher in pitcher, and they keep playing. Then 1 is a true like we experienced. But so I don't have an opinion yet. I will after the season, I'm sure.
Go far right, Vice.
Coach Freeze, what are your thoughts on the SEC schedule potentially? Saban had a few comments, and there's been a lot of discussion about which team should get who.
Yeah, I don't. Have they decided the format yet? So I'm kind of the makeup. Until if I can't control it, it's probably not worth me worrying about. And I have zero control, and I trust John Cohen and Dr. Roberts, and they're sitting in those meetings, and they're going to do the best they can to do what's best for Auburn University, and whatever that ends up being, you know what? We all knew coming into this league when we took these jobs that you're going to have a hard schedule. Some of us have it harder than others, and are used to that. And it is what it is, and me complaining about it or worrying about it certainly is not going to help us prepare for it. And so I just, it is what it is. And, if you ask me, after they've decided on the format, I probably could tell you who I'd like for our crossovers to be, but it's probably not going to be those. And so it's just really not worth me worrying about it.
Does it follow? So you're saying you'd rather not share who you prefer for your crossovers?
Oh, I don't listen. Every year is probably quite different, but I would assume in whatever format they're going to give us that we're probably going to have a couple tough draws. It is what it is, and that's exciting for our fans and exciting for our kids. And but really, me sitting around worrying about what will be decided on the format really probably doesn't help us one bit.
Coach, far left, Brian.
Yes, you wanted to ask you about the first 3 practices. What did you see out of the quarterbacks good, and maybe some things you want them to improve on this week?
It's still the same thing that I said prior. They love what we're doing. I think they love our approach to coaching them. We're rotating them, giving them all the same equal opportunities. There were some good things, and there were some not so good things. And it's the not so good things. Can we get, more consistent at doing the better things? And 3 practices is really not enough, but I've seen some good things from all 3. Truthfully, the last one, that was a tough one to judge them on, because that Friday, that win was, it was an issue. It was an issue for throwing the football for sure, for everybody. So, but anxious to get back out with them. But love their approach. I've seen some good things for sure from all 3.
Yeah, come here on the front right.
Hugh, I guess what format are you sort of looking for Friday's scrimmage? What do you want to get out of that after having a week off?
Yeah, I never know what exactly has been put out, so it's not going to be some all-out scrimmage. It will be situational by then, whether it's a 2nd and 7 period, play 3rd down live, or a P and 10 period, but it's not. We're not quite ready yet just to all-out scrimmage. So we're certainly not ready to tackle our tailbacks yet. Anybody, we're going to protect them, but there will be some fairly live situational stuff.
Jason.
What are you looking for just from a team perspective these next couple of weeks as you start to kind of maybe get into a little bit of a rhythm of practice? What are you kind of wanting to see as you head towards the spring game?
Well, alignment, assignment, and effort. Are we aligned correctly? We had a lot of those issues in practices 1, 2, and 3 on both sides. And are we doing the right assignment, and are we doing it with the right effort? And if we're doing our job as coaches, then that should be improving from practice to practice to practice. And some of the stuff that you see that we saw in the first 3 hopefully diminishes some. And so it's really about those three things, whether we're in a scrimmage situation and we are playing this period of practice live, or it's thud or it's tag, you know, until I see us aligning correctly and playing with great technique and doing our assignment right and playing with great effort, you know, it's going to be hard for me to feel like we're improving at the rate that I want us to until I see those.
Michael.
Coach, talk about the offensive line. A lot of eyes are going to be on the development of that position. You know, what kind of progress are you guys making there? You've got a lot of newcomers, and how are they adapting to doing what you're asking them to do?
I was really pleased with the O-line in the first few practices, and you know, this will be the second one with pads on, and the defense is starting to get more stuff in with more movements, and that's when you usually probably leave practice feeling awful because we haven't practiced enough against these movements, and it can make you look really bad. But I think we improved ourselves for sure, and excited about, you know, that group. I think they're a group you can depend upon to really bring it every week to practice and every day. I know that, you know, Too Tall and Gunner and Dylan and Avery are all guys that we feel like have to play for us, that we improved ourselves with obviously the current guys that we have. Tate Johnson's been an incredible leader in that room too.
Is he would you call him the standout to this point in practice, or is there anybody else who stands out on the line?
You know, I'm not ready to say that he's standing out over anyone else. I just know that there's an expectation that we're trying to set, and he wants to drive the train for that expectation, and it matters to him. You know, wearing Auburn on his chest means something, and you can't have enough of those guys.
Got a follow from the boss on the far right, Coach.
How difficult is it to have an offensive line? We have a guy from Tulsa, a guy from JUCO, these guys from different places. How difficult is it to merge into a cohesive unit at Auburn?
I don't see that as a great challenge. I mean, it happens every year, you know, whether it happens in January or whether it happens in August. But usually in January, you're adding quite a few pieces to your puzzle, whether they come from Tulsa or whether they come from high school. You know, I didn't mention the high school mid-year enrollees that we had that are the same, that, you know, Connor Lou and Clay and Braden, and, you know, we needed depth in that room to be able to practice. And so I don't think that's a huge challenge. That's something that we're kind of used to dealing with. And, you know, I think players by now, if they're realistic, they understand at this level, you know, every year we're trying to out-recruit you, and not many coaches will say that, but that's the truth. You got to compete every year to earn your time, and we're going to try again next year to go find another one that's even better. And but you still need all of them, and forming them together when they're competing for playing time, and also trying to form a great team. That's probably that's somewhat of a challenge for sure, but it's something that we're kind of used to.
Anything else? Good. All right, Coach. Thank
Yeah,
you.
can I say, you know, man, congratulations to Coach Pearl, basketball team. Man, I mean, they've showed a lot of resolve this year, and I don't know, man. I've got this gut feeling that they might show up and make a run in this thing, and just happy. And I know I'm happy for the Auburn people that it's in Birmingham, and hopefully more of our people can get there. But really, you know, I text with him like every other day or every game day for sure. But excited for him, his staff, and our players, and also I think Coach Jay and the women's also made it in the WNIT, and wish them a lot of luck. But pulling for those guys.
All right, Coach.
All right, thank you.